Township Planning Commission meeting to order for Monday, October 6, 2025 at 7 p.m. Staff, if you could please ascertain the presence of a quorum.
Mr. Bunkenfest. Mr. Horke.
Here.
Mr. Khan.
Present.
Dr. Keene.
Here.
Ms. Carlson.
Here.
Mr. Mooney.
Here.
Mr. McCarty.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Present.
And Mr. Woodard.
We do have a quorum. Thank you very much. I have no announcements on changes to the agenda, so we will move to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Now, if I recall, at the last meeting, we delayed the previous meeting minutes. Am I remembering correctly, or am I making that up?
In my trustee folder, I have 2 minutes to sign.
Okay.
So I believe
And so those are for September 15th, and then what was the prior date? Just for the
September
record.
15th and September 2nd.
Thank you, September 2nd. So we have 2 sets of meeting minutes. I assume, council, we can take those in one motion? What is the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve meeting minutes for September 2nd.
Motion by Mr. McCarty. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mooney. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is for staff to review the rules of procedure.
Yes, thank you, President. For items requiring a public hearing tonight's meeting has the following structure. The department will summarize the petition. Then the petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present to the Plan Commission. The president will open a public hearing. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those representing a group will be given 5 minutes to speak. Only one member of a group will be given 5 minutes to speak. And for efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. The public hearing will be closed when all interested members of the audience have had a chance to be heard and all emails received during the meeting have been provided to commission members. The petitioner will be given then up to 10 minutes to respond to comments without interruption. The commission will then follow up with any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the petition. This may include additional discussion with the petitioner. Procedures for items of business tonight. For items that do not require a public hearing, the department will summarize the petition and highlight any changes or modifications since the item was last before the Plan Commission. The department will also describe what action, if any, is necessary to be taken. The petitioner will be then given up to 15 minutes to present any changes, and the commission will then act upon the petition. General rules of conduct for tonight's meeting. Please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private discussion, then we ask that you please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time. If you must answer them, please quietly exit the room. If you are attending in person and wish to speak in regard to a petition scheduled for a public hearing, please line up against the west wall once the public hearing is opened, and please sign the speaker sheet right here as you approach the podium to speak. For efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. During your comments, please state your name, address into the microphone for the record, and we ask that you not repeat previously stated comments. Your presentation will be timed, and you will be advised when there are approximately 30 seconds remaining. If you are not attending in person, comments regarding the petition, they should be emailed to planners@westfield.in.gov with the petition name or number included in the subject line. Those comments will be forwarded to the Plan Commission members and the petitioner. Lastly, we'd like to remind everyone to please speak directly into the microphone so your comments can be put onto the record. Also, please mute your microphone when not speaking. If you come up to the podium to speak, please ensure that the microphone is on as indicated by the green light at the base. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Collingwood. First section here on our agenda after the opening is the consent agenda. We have 2 items, 2509-DDP-26, which is the Creative World School, and 2510-DDP-29, which is the North Point Patch Development. I'll turn to staff for any comments that you may have related to the matter.
No additional comments.
Any comments or questions from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, would there be a motion to take the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Moved by Mr. McCarty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Keene. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Horke?
Yes.
Mr. Khan? Yes. Dr. Keene?
Yes.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
I believe that's it. Passes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next section on our agenda are the items of business. We have 4 of those this evening, starting with the approval of the 2026 meeting dates for the Westfield Washington Township Area Plan Commission. I'll turn that to whoever wishes to present on that.
Yep, so these are the 2026 zoning petition as well as the DDP schedule of meetings for next year. This is just a requirement to get the calendar approved at the APC level. If there are no questions or comments, we would like to entertain a approval here.
Would you just briefly explain, just for those that may not notice it, but the first set of meetings in January are on the same date? Just briefly, please.
Yes, so I believe the reasoning for that was obviously with holiday time at the end of the year, as well as the beginning of the year, people are in and out a lot. So we are going to have a public hearing and workshop meeting on the same date. Kevin, I'm not sure if you have any other additional kind of context there for that.
Of course, I turned my mic on and coughed into it. Sorry about that. No, other than really just trying to be sensitive to the holiday schedule in the month preceding. Wanted to make sure that we did have an opportunity for a workshop meeting. If we needed one, we thought we could kind of combine those two. Our agendas have been not terribly heavy the last handful of months, so we thought that would be an effective way of handling that this year, so we're not adding meetings either twice in a week, I think is what or back-to-back weeks or something like that is what we did this year, and that always causes its own stress. So given the workload lately, we thought we could handle it in one meeting.
Any questions or comments from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, we entertain a motion on the 2026 calendar.
Move to approve the calendar.
Moved by Mr. Horkay. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Second by Mrs. Carlson. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Keene,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
and Mr. Horkay,
Yes.
and Mr. Khan.
Yes.
Item's approved.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the 2504-PUD-04, which is the Town Road Crossing PUD Amendment 1. Turn to Mr. Collingwood for staff report.
No, it's okay. Just the location map. All right, sorry. Thank you, President, members of the commission. Good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. The item before you is a proposed amendment to the Town Road Crossing Plan Unit Development District. The amended real estate comprises approximately 144 acres located south of State Road 32 and generally located northwest of Little Eagle Creek Avenue. The petitioner is present this evening to request a continuance for the petition. We are approaching the 6-month timer following the item's public hearing back in April, so action must be taken at tonight's meeting in the form of a recommendation or a request for continuance to a future APC meeting. The petitioner's representative will be providing some additional context for the Plan Commission this evening. I will also be available for questions if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dobashewitz.
Thank you and good evening. For the record, John Dobashewitz, land use professional with law firm Nelson Frankenberger. We represent the applicant Platinum Properties Management Company. Paul Rio with Platinum is here this evening, as well as Jim Schinner, attorney with our office. We are requesting, as staff indicated, as pursuant to the requirements of the UDO, a request for continuance. We would ask that the Plan Commission consider granting us effectively a 90-day continuance, either to be on your agenda November 3rd, December 1st, or rather than January 5th, as I see posted to this evening, January 14th. We would advise staff a minimum of 2 weeks in advance of that meeting that we would intend to be on one of those agendas. We anticipate that we won't push this out until January. The ordinance is unlikely to be changed. They're dealing with some internal issues between the applicant and property owner. Once we have those items resolved, we'll be back in front of the Plan Commission for its recommendations. So where we left things off at committee with a couple of minor modifications that we'll present to you at adoption or a recommendation consideration. But again, our request is for a 3-month continuous, November 3rd, December 1, or January 14th, and we'll advise staff a minimum of 2 weeks in advance of our intent to appear on one of those meeting dates.
Thank you. With the date change from the 5th to the 14th in his head, is that still covered by 90 days, or would the motion be to set it for a specific date? I just want to make sure we don't club ourselves in any way. And I don't do math.
Rather than sit here and count, I think we can just do date.
Okay.
Certain, I think I would just push it to January 14th.
Okay. Questions or comments from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, would there be a motion related to the continuance request?
Move to approve the continuance.
Motion by Mr. Horkay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to allow this to be continued to no later than the meeting of the January 14th, 2026 Plan Commission meeting. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
I'm sorry, that second was Omar, correct?
Correct.
Oh, sorry, who did I say?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Did I
Just
say
want,
you?
just
I'm
want to
sorry.
make sure.
Yep,
Okay.
that might have been my bad. I mean, I've been listening.
All right, Mr. Khan,
Yes.
Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
and Mr. Horke.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on that one later. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is 2509-ZOA-03, which is the Grand Junction Overlay District. We'll turn to Mr. Todd for our staff report.
Yeah, good evening. Members of the Planning Commission, for the record, Kevin Todd with Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is an update to the UDO, adding a new overlay district to the portion identified on the screen in our downtown area. Specifically, this area is immediately west of the Grand Junction Plaza. The purpose of the overlay would be to help ensure that development and redevelopment in this area is consistent with the city's vision and goals for this area, to be a cultural, dining, and shopping district within our downtown that's very walkable and pedestrian focused and friendly. The overall content of the proposed overlay is summarized in the memo, which is part of your packet this evening. We also discussed it at your August 11th meeting, so I don't necessarily want to spend a bunch of time going through that tonight unless there's questions. But since the August 11th meeting, there's only been one change to this ordinance, and that's really just the name of it. The name of the district has changed from the Park and Jersey Street overlay to the Grand Junction overlay district. So, which really falls into alignment with what we're calling that area in other kind of documents and plans in the city. So we wanted to make sure it all connected. So with that, happy to answer any questions you may have about this and request forwarding a recommendation to the City Council this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, would entertain a motion on recommendation to City Council.
Forward a positive recommendation for 2509-ZOA-03.
Motion by Mr. McCarty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Carlson. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
and Mr. Khan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda, moving right along, is 2508-PUD-17, which is the Lantern Commons PUD Amendment 2. We will turn to Lauren Gillingham Teague for our presentation. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council, excuse me, members of the Plan Commission. You didn't have to work for it. For the record, Lauren Gillingham Teague with the Community Development Department. The item up for recommendation tonight is an amendment to the Lantern Commons, an amendment to the Lantern Commons PUD ordinance. This is generally located at the northwest corner of 161st Street and Westfield Boulevard, as shown on the screen. This is the east side of the southern portion, east of the piece where the L7 Hotel was approved earlier this year. This development is comprised of two 4-story mixed-use residential buildings with approximately 100 units, several plaza spaces, and a standalone restaurant anchoring that corner on the lower southeast corner. Yeah. A neighborhood meeting and a public hearing were both held in August, and a workshop meeting was held at your previous meeting in September. Staff has not received any public comments at this time. Matt Skelton with Church, Hidden, and Antrim are here to address any remaining issues and answer any comments or any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Skelton, is there anything you want to say prior to any questions? Always give you the opportunity.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Good evening, members of the Plan Commission. For the record, Matt Skelton with Church, Hidden, and Antrim, with offices at 116 North Union Street here in town. Developer owner Phil Milto and our design team, Alex Marsh and James Braun with Studio M, are with us this evening too. Just one item, I think we had addressed all of the outstanding discussion items at the workshop meeting on September 15th. There was one request made that we spent some time on since then, and it had to do with the southeastern dumpster enclosure area, and just asking us to take a hard look at that to see if it makes sense to move it someplace else. And I think that might be the thing that we have spent the most time discussing on this project since its inception. And for the time being, I mean, the designers have spent a lot of time. There are several considerations, things that are impacted by having to shift that. That throws off, we lose some parking. There are some grading issues that create some challenges. There's some connectivity. This doesn't show the trail connection, but there's some connectivity issues that would be impacted. And additionally, and maybe most importantly, needing to have it in a location, because we're only doing 3. I think we originally started out with 4. Having them in close proximity to where they need to be from a functionality perspective. So the recommendation is to for the time being, leave it as shown, with one caveat as the site is fully engineered and we get to that point and other opportunities may reveal themselves, then we would certainly consider alternate locations, but knowing what we know today, this is the best recommendation we've received. And with that concludes my remarks, and we would appreciate your positive consideration this evening.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Skelton. Members of the commission, comments, questions? Seeing and hearing none, what would be the board's...
Before you do that.
Oh, sorry.
Let me go ahead and jump in with a random comment that is not so much for this particular development, but this whole area of Lantern Commons. It's occurred to me that long ago when all of this started, or at the groundbreaking maybe, that there was a commitment to Joe Edwards that there would be at least a pocket park or something. We keep approving things. Do we know where that park's going to be?
Yes. May I?
Please reveal it.
I think the city already has engineered plans for it and everything, but it's going to be right here.
Okay.
Well, you should have kept going up further and further. Any other questions or comments?
Nope, that's the one that had popped to mind. I waited till we had an opportunity to discuss this in particular before bringing up something that really wasn't so much this, but important for everybody to understand what's going on, because a lot of us remember that commitment and hadn't heard that it was decided. So we're good now.
Any further comments from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, I would entertain a motion on recommendation to City Council.
Since I have my microphone on and I've been busy talking, I'll move that we forward a favorable recommendation.
Motion by Mr. Horke. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to give that to Dr. Keen. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Horke,
Yes.
Mr. Khan,
Yes.
and Dr. Keen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. That is the last item of business we have. Now move to the public hearing portion of our agenda, starting with 2510-ZC-01, which is the Oak Park zoning commitment modification. And we will turn to Mr. Collingwood for the staff report related to this item.
Yes, thank you, President, members of the Plan Commission. Again, for the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. The item before you is a commitment modification for the Oak Park subdivision. This commitment modification is only applicable to the subject lot, in which is Lot 2, Section 2, within the Oak Park subdivision, and will not apply to the entire neighborhood. The request entails modifying the side yard setback for a subject lot from 20 feet to 9 feet in order to construct a detached accessory structure on the property. The property owner received a successful variance approval to encroach into the side yard setback at the September 9th BZA meeting. This two-step approval process was required due to the verbiage outlined in each respective document, where the BZA approval granted approval as defined within the UDO, and this modified commitment will grant compliance via the existing Oak Park commitments established in 2014. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. Staff has received no correspondence at this time. I was able to forward a comment letter that was sent in conjunction with the BZA approval a couple weeks ago that the homeowner wanted me to share with the APC members tonight. So hopefully in your inboxes you have a forwarded message from me
reading that right now.
about an hour ago. The petitioner is present this evening. I don't believe they plan on making any other additional comments unless requested by the APC. If the APC feels content with the status of the request, staff recommends waiving the rules of procedure to provide a vote at tonight's meeting for the petitioner. I'm available for any questions if you guys have any. Thank you.
Very good. With that, we will turn to, since the petitioner is waiving any opening comments, we will move straight to the public hearing. If you are here for that, you'll please step up to the shorter dais here by Mr. Collingwood, and you'll sign up your name and information. You'll have 3 minutes to speak if you're here in individual capacity, or 5 minutes if you are here representing a group. If you are online, please send an email to planners@westfield.in.gov to ensure that you're heard. With that, I will open this public hearing at 7:21 p.m. Any takers? Is there anybody online that would give us any comment before I close this?
I have not received anything additional at this time.
Okay. Seeing and hearing none, I will close the public hearing at the exact same time, 7:21 p.m. With no questions or comments from the public, I will, Dr. Keene.
I'm just going to, since I chair the BZA and this appeared before the BZA, I just want to say the presentation that the petitioner made was a great presentation. They've done everything possible to make this work within the existing parameters, and settled on this as the best option. And it was unanimously approved. And when you look at the structure of their house, the way things are designed, you don't really see this from the road. And the neighbors, I think they've worked with the neighbors. So this was, I think a homeowner went above and beyond, just didn't take a wild stab at doing something and then hoping it would be approved. They really worked this, and so I think they should be commended, but I think this is something we should approve too and move forward.
Sure. And my understanding was, just in comments prior to this meeting, that by right, they have the right to put some sort of structure on a different portion of the property, but that this kind of fits better without eating all of that property up. And so it was kind of like this made much more sense, was my takeaway from comments prior to. Mr. Khan.
I'm just trying to understand what is the setback that it was and what is it currently, exactly what are we measuring? Is it the footage from the structure to the, or if somebody could point that out to help clarify.
Yeah,
please.
so this subdivision is zoned SF1 today, straight zone, no PUD involved. So since it's a straight zone neighborhood, there were prior commitments that were passed in conjunction with it. So with that said, the UDO obviously has a 20-foot setback for SF1 lots. And the commitment also wrote into the commitments that the 20-foot setback would apply. So that's why this
20-foot setback.
20-foot setback, yes.
Okay.
So that's why this dual process was kind of needed to go to the BZA to get approval from the UDO and then kind of get a
And this will
second one here.
reduce it to a
from the commitment.
9-foot setback
Yes, just for this subject lot.
for this subject lot. Okay, thank you.
It's not a blanket commitment modification, really just specific to this instance, really.
And my further understanding is that the property that essentially will be closest to that there was no objection from that neighbor, that the one objection we do have is across the street. Is that correct?
That's correct. to my
Not that that's, any more or less weighty. I just wanted to point that out.
Also point out, my memory serves me, this is a heavily wooded lot in the back, and so it really precluded them from building something further back, so they needed to bring it up closer to not destroy it.
Yeah, this area has a tree preservation easement along the northern side of the lot, which hindered the ability to encroach to the north. So they opted to go toward the side yard setback and got kind of a blessing, I guess, from that east side neighbor to go through. So
I assume they'll get to come play basketball with their neighbor, would be my assumption. I think it's cool. Any further comments or questions from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, I think the ask, if the commission is comfortable, is that we would suspend the rules to not send this to a workshop and go ahead and move this off our plate and send a recommendation to city council. So first, I would entertain a motion related to suspension of the rules.
Make a
Before
motion
we,
to suspend
sorry,
the rules.
I'm so sorry.
before we continue, Nicole, to my knowledge, I thought that this would not need to get approval at a city council meeting because the plan commission was the kind of the body that I think originally approved the commitments, to my knowledge.
Yeah, so here, what the statute says is these commitments were made to you, and so you are the ones that need to modify them. It does not go to a vote of the city council like you normally would.
Sure.
So,
we would still need to suspend our rules, and then we would actually approve rather than recommend.
correct.
Thank you. Very good. With that,
Make a motion to suspend.
motion by Mr. Khan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCarty. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
All right, Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Horkay,
Yes.
Mr. Khan,
Yes.
Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson.
Yes.
Okay.
Rules are
suspended.
suspended. Would there be a motion related to the approval?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Keen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Carlson. Any further discussion? Staff, would you please call the roll?
All right, Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Horkay,
Yes.
Mr. Khan,
Yes.
Dr. Keen,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
and Mr. McCarty.
Yes.
Okay, we are approved.
Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations and good luck. Next item on our agenda under the public hearing portion is 2509-PUD-18, which is the Schlegel Commerce Park Planned Unit Development. We will turn to, again, Mr. Collingwood for staff report.
Yes, thank you, President. APC members, again, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. This item before you is a change of zoning request for what will be known as the Schlegel Commerce Park Planned Unit Development District. The subject parcel consists of approximately 3 acres and is located generally on the east side of Grassy Branch Road, south adjacent of the existing North Point PUD district, and can be seen in more detail in the provided location map exhibit on the screen. The subject rezone petition encompasses permitted uses that generally reflect the enclosed industrial uses of the Unified Development Ordinance, with some inclusions and removals as highlighted in the PUD ordinance and the staff report alike. In terms of development regulations, the proposed ordinance will heavily mimic the established North Point PUD standards, especially in terms of the general zoning regulations and architectural character of the future development. This item is in front of you this evening for its public hearing with the APC. This item has been properly noticed and advertised and has not received any public correspondence at this time. The item received its first reading in front of the City Council at their September 22nd meeting. The petitioner also held a neighborhood meeting at the end of August, and a copy of that general discussion can be seen in the provided neighborhood meeting summary exhibit. Matt Pleasant of Pleasant Cities LLC is the petitioner's representative for the rezone petition. He plans on making an introductory presentation for the APC this evening. Thank you.
Very good. Good evening and welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Oh, I have control. I should be a pro. It's been a while since I played that game. I was never good at it. I was smart enough for it. Okay. Thank you, Plan Commission. My name is Matt Pleasant with Pleasant Cities LLC. For the record, located at 5821 Julian Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm here to introduce Schlegel Commerce Park. The applicant is Austin Schlegel, residing at 20125 Grassy Branch Road, which is also the subject site for this request. The proposed, Grassy Branch Road on the east side of the North Street of North Circle Church. The church is just to the south of this property line. The site holds about 3 acres, and there's trees surrounding the entire site. Majority of the trees are following the south, and we wanted to try to preserve as many trees as you possibly can on the north. I'll get more into detail about that in just a few minutes. But first I wanted to go through like what is around the property Of course, you have the Coventry subdivision, the North Circle Church to the south, as I mentioned before, the Briob Nursery. And then recently, within the last, early at the beginning of this year, you had approved the North Point Area 3 extension as part of the industrial. Just in relation with this. And then there are homes over here on the west side of the street, just across. Currently, the site is zoned AGSF1, which includes just agriculture and residence. I wanted to show this slide because there was I know that you guys are going through an update on the comprehensive plan. Currently, around this area, that North Point PUD, which previously was Aurora, had dramatically changed this area. However, the business park designation from the comp plan, which is what I was following, by this map showing that the business park for our site would apply. It could also be contemplated for suburban residential. With it being such a small site, or a smaller site, having a subdivision in there and being kind of landlocked in with the church and then the nursery next door wouldn't necessarily make sense, in our opinion. But I will say this, I do believe, even based on, if I go back here, with the very, very large industrial buildings coming in here, this one will be a very, very much smaller one. And arguably the last one to come down, at least on that side of the property. I can't see necessarily ones coming from the south. However, you never know what anybody's going to come up with later. The rezoning is explicitly EI, enclosed industrial. It's focusing on office uses and neighborhood services permitted, which include like a small gym, which was added to the PUD. General offices, medical offices, construction and trade offices. At the end, after everything, when they're ready for construction, we will be annexing the property into the city of Westfield. It is actually not part of the city at the moment. It is part of the township still. And then we'll also be dedicating the right-of-way that is required of the city. This PUD, after a lot of discussions with staff, we've been working with staff since December of last year. A lot of discussions back and forth on what this should be. And it was heavily implied that that staff wanted it to be as closely mirrored to the North Point Area 3 PUD as possibly can. To which we agreed and understood, specifically from the architectural and design standpoint. However, we wanted to make sure that the neighbors across the street are adhered to and listened to. So we did add a couple extra exhibits just to show some, just in addition to what has already been approved from the North Point Area 3 PUD. We also changed a few of the, we added landscaping, we restricted uses, so it is way more restrictive than the North Point PUD to the north. And there'll be no outdoor storage. Outdoor storage is permitted in North Point PUD Area 3 adjacent to the north. Just for like a little bit of context, there's ones up to the north, if I remember, they're roughly 1 million square feet, about 800,000 square feet buildings. Those are really large buildings. This one is most likely, after engineering comes through, we're looking around a 30,000 square foot building. This is significantly less and smaller than something of the giant major industrials that are coming through. I wanted to bring up the neighborhood meeting. It was a very good and involved discussion with some neighbors that came out. We met with, so they brought specifically some uses that they did not want to see, and we, after some discussion with my client, we definitely agreed with them. It wasn't appropriate to have some like semi trucks coming down Grassy Branch Road, at least even coming down that far south. So we wanted to limit all the uses that would generally bring semi trucks. If there are any delivery trucks, they would most likely be box trucks, as only as big as they possibly can. There's no way that, even as of right now at least, that Grassy Branch Road cannot have something like a semi truck coming in and out of that property at this point in time. In the way that we have the design, the layout of the property with the restrictions, not having a parking lot in front of the building. All the parking has to be on the north side. The building is kind of pushed down toward the property line to the south. And also just being such a smaller footprint, you're not going to get the much larger warehouse distributions. And we had absolutely no problem of just making sure that that wasn't even permitted at all. Other things was a concern about was lighting. We put into there specifically was that during the weekday that lighting, like lit parking lot, lighting from the building, even from the actual sign, if they have a monument sign itself, would be turned off after 10 p.m. during the week and then 11 p.m. during the weekday. And the only other comment that was made by those neighbors was that they were contemplating of they wanting something of more of like neighborhood uses to be permitted. And we're talking like coffee shops and, something like hair salons and stuff like that. And while I'm not necessarily opposed and we're not opposed, we were asking for like a list from them to say like, what exactly do you want? We didn't necessarily hear from them too much. We did hear about the gym, which was wanted. That gym is specifically not for something like an LA Fitness. LA Fitnesses are usually much larger, 80,000, 100,000 square feet, and we're limiting this to 7,500 square feet. This is specifically made for your small classes for yoga studios or your CrossFit gyms or whatever the next Pilates, whatever the next workout class is going to be in the future that we can't contemplate right now. That is what that's for. It's not meant to be a 24-hour thing, and I would say that showing that would be that, especially the lighting being turned off from the parking lot, and then the whole building being off as well. With that, I'm concluding my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much. Any questions prior to the public hearing? I have one. Is under this, I didn't look, so forgive me, would a coffee shop be permitted based on this recommendation today?
I don't believe that that's called into the PUD at this time.
Okay. I think I had noted that if those that lived there wanted it, that it would need to be added to the PUD. So that's okay. I just wanted to confirm.
I had a follow-up question. Is this a warehouse establishment, or is this for a commercial space for several different multi-use variables in that commercial space?
Yeah, so the intention of it is to be more of a multi-use space, like have multiple tenants in each of the spaces. It could have one person in there, but it's more or less designed, and the intention is for it to have multiple.
Okay. And a coffee shop's not one of them. Do you have a list of what these could potentially be?
Staff, we heard feedback from staff, and they were very, very, very apprehensive about allowing something like a retail of any kind, whether it be like a small coffee shop or anything of that nature. And I think they just really were looking to make sure that industrial stays industrial and you don't have a lot of mix. And although we may disagree on some philosophies, I can respect what their opinions are. The only way that I was going to add those in was if the neighbors explicitly wanted them, and since we didn't necessarily hear back from them after the long time, and it wasn't requested necessarily, we just didn't add them in at this point.
So this is an industrial multi-use site for companies that are in the industrial space.
It could be a construction trade, like construction offices, somebody who owns their own construction business. If they have any materials, it's kept indoors, and then they would put it in the trucks and go deliver it. Or usually they'll deliver it to the site, they construct, they bring any scraps back, and they put it inside.
Okay.
They can use it for future. Other ones would be medical offices, if there are a dentist office. It could be a general office. Those are the kind of things that we're looking at. There may be some storage, but they're not intended for actual distribution of goods.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, I'll move this. I have more questions, but, I'm sorry. Do you have a question prior to the public hearing? Mrs.
I
Carlson?
was just going to ask about the lighting. You just said the light on the sign will go off, or the lights on the whole entire site?
Outside of any emergency lighting, all the lights would be required to go off past 10 o'clock on the weekdays and 11 p.m. on the weeknights. So any of the parking lot lighting would be turned off, and even the lighting on the if there is a monument sign, that lighting on the monument sign would also be turned off.
Would that cause any safety concerns, having a dark industrial site?
Yeah, well, I would say that the site's not intended to be a 24-hour use to begin with, but if you're concerned, like people traveling down the street and afraid of hitting something like the monument sign. When the dedication of right-of-way is coming, it's 75 feet from the center line. So we're already, where are we? The property line is currently right at the property line is right at the pavement. And we're going to be taking about 60-ish feet from that would be the property line from there. So a monument sign would be pretty far tucked back from that street.
I guess my other thought was, like, if I want to go to my office at 11 o'clock at night to do some work and it's pitch black, is that a good thing for us? Or is there going to be some sort of low key lighting or something?
Yeah, it doesn't stop from having any lighting from the inside. The zoning can't control anything that happens necessarily from the inside when it comes to that perspective, but as for actual parking lot lighting and emergency lighting would still be permitted.
All right, I'm going to move us to the public hearing portion to get that process rolling, and then it sounds like we've got some discussion afterwards. So if you are here this evening to speak on this matter, there is a clipboard, as I indicated earlier, by Mr. Collingwood. Please come sign up. 3 minutes to speak if you're here as an individual, 5 minutes as a group. Those online, planners at westfield.in.gov, and we will open this public hearing at 7:41 p.m. Are there any takers in the room? Not one person wants to testify before us this evening. I'm scared. Anyone online?
Refresh. No emails.
Very good. With that, I will close the public hearing also at 7:41 p.m. Now we can turn to some discussion, and I think I'm going to start just because I've got some thoughts. Obviously, this is something that I believe that we're going to move obviously to workshop, and I want to kind of, I guess I understand from a legal perspective what everything says, what the UDO says, what your ordinance says, what your request is. I guess I'm confused about what the intended uses of such a facility are. I mean, I look at the structure, and I think storage. I think construction. There's a number of things I think of, and it just seems kind of unclear to me. Especially obviously there's not going to be a coffee shop or whatever. It even just kind of looks weird for a gym space or things like that. And not that I'm against it going there. It just I'm kind of, it almost doesn't match in my head what I think something like that would look like. I understand what a CrossFit gym looks like. I don't go to CrossFit. I would fail miserably. So I think kind of my thought here is that this needs some further explanation just from my perspective. And I think that can happen in workshop. It doesn't have to happen tonight because we're not going to move this tonight. I would not move it tonight. I wouldn't presume to tell my fellow commissioners what they say they think they should do. But I think we just still need some further discussion. I think the lighting and all those kind of things, and the berms and all the stuff that appeared in the neighborhood summary that you guys discussed, and some of the stuff you committed to, I think was good and important, and I'm supportive of those things. I think I just kind of, and maybe further explanation, maybe some further exhibits and conversation as we bring this to the workshop process. Will certainly maybe just relieve any questions. I don't have any concerns yet, just questions. And so I think some further developed presentation will be important on the matter. I will let someone else speak. Mrs. Carlson.
Yeah, will this blend in with what's going on in North Point Area 3? So it looks like it's a part of that site?
Yeah, and I think that was the intention from staff that wanted us to really take from the North Point Area 3 PUD. So it is taking those exhibits, and then we just kind of added a couple of them just to give a little bit more variety, but it still does meet the requirements that would be a North Point Area 3 from an architectural standpoint. It will mesh together pretty well.
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful to maybe bring back some sort of drawing of what's going there and how it's going to kind of be cohesive so that it doesn't look like it's a big building standing in the middle of a field.
You want me to show what it looks like with North Point on the map too, with our proposal as well?
So that it looks like it flows. And
yeah.
Like right now, I'm envisioning a big warehouse standing in a field. So it would just be helpful to see how it flows together.
I have one. It is just a concept. It's not drawn this was designed. Oops. This was very, very early on. It was not designed with the setbacks in mind. But in general, this would be shortened. It would come about here, and then this would actually get pushed back a little bit too. So this is also just showing the slope. Everything's going away from it down in this corner and a little bit this way. So this is very rudimentary, but it's very an idea of what to expect. The building on this site, I believe, comes like pretty close to this property line throughout.
I guess I just want to ask a clarifying question. Are you asking for a site plan for their site specifically, or in context with property to the north?
Probably the property to the north, just to make sure it flows, like, to make sure it makes sense that that type of building is in that location across from these homes.
Yeah.
But there's no one here complaining about it from the homes across the street, so maybe they don't care.
No, but we've heard comments, not that we would blend these two together, but in the North Point process, we heard from some of the neighbors, and a lot of those items, I think, were as best assuaged as they could. But I do think, based on my knowledge of what's going on at North Point, that this isn't going to be out of character specific to the zone. It's just, it wasn't zoned with the North Point PUD for some of the points that Mr. Pleasant made. And so I don't think that's a concern that I have, based on will it fit those other places. Yeah, certainly there's houses on the other side, but we're already doing that to the property just north of it, and then there's the church to the south. And so it in my opinion, just as conversational, I think it's going to fit what's going on at North Point that's already been approved.
That was just my concern.
We would probably want to confirm if there is a development plan on file for that property to the north at this point. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if anything has been officially filed. If it might just be, character exhibits and,
Sure.
teed up at that point.
Sure.
If staff has like a concept plan that they can provide to me, I can drop it in a map and also kind of show the layout of this and just kind of show exactly where, at least generally speaking, where the concepts are. It shouldn't be a problem.
I know we've seen some
If they've-
thoughts and ideas for that property to the north, but I'm not sure if any of them have actually stuck yet. So, yeah, we can do our best to come up with something, and maybe even that, what you will end up showing, and maybe even that's conceptual in nature, just to kind of see how things might fit together. Would that be sufficient?
Yeah, I just was, you have a nice little church next door that looks kind of very residential, and then all of a sudden you go to a very, very industrial-looking building, and I don't know at this point what's going to be built to the north, but I would assume it'd be the same sort of industrial-looking building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So flow is, I think, really important to the neighborhood.
Mr. Horke.
I was actually surprised that there weren't more comments from the neighbors. And what I was envisioning after looking at your exhibits is there's got to be a square footage limit on this building. A lot of the buildings that are already in North Point are roughly 2-acre buildings, and this is only a 3-acre site. And if you're talking about a 30,000 square foot building, that's 2/3 of an acre, roughly. So maybe that could fit, but it's a very rectangular site, more to the east and west, with not that much road frontage. In thinking through what could possibly make sense there, the thing that came to mind was something like what we approved on 32 to the west several months back.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the
Correct.
32 Commerce Park, or I had some sort of, I can't remember the name of it now.
Trailside, I believe. Correct, Bob?
But there were 4 buildings that were going to be, the kind of uses anticipated were for folks that weren't going to work out of the garage anymore, but they didn't need 80,000 square feet. It's kind of a middle sweet spot with an
Exactly.
expectation that a lot of those users might eventually grow to the point where they have to get to a bigger building. But this building was not going to be such that it would satisfy them for, a lifetime, unless they just, have a limit on what they can do. That was something in a location on 32 where we have some pretty high expectations on architecture and design and landscaping, and because that's a very visible site. This, we want it to look good. The North Point buildings, big and gigantic as they are, still have some look to them. So a smaller version of those buildings, perhaps with more of that kind of a thought behind its use, sounds to me anyway like it makes more sense. I'm not trying to be your developer consultant here,
Yeah.
but as a plan commissioner, trying to think through what would I want to approve for this site, just a smaller version of exactly what's there with, you know, who knows what the square footage is or the kind of uses. I think it needs to be a little more targeted. And I would be concerned about too many other ancillary uses, the things that the neighbors requested. That's great. There aren't that many neighbors that would make a business like that successful. And there are other places on the east side of town where that kind of thing could occur, not within a walking distance necessarily, but within a pretty short commute to be able to get to some of our downtown things and other things that are being developed. So I would not look forward to a lot of little spaces being part of this, but if it's 30,000 square feet, maybe 4 different users in a modest square footage that don't need a lot of extra things that come along with what they do, small vehicles and not that many employees probably are the.
No, I mean, you're right on the nose. It's exactly what the intention was to do for something like this. It was almost thinking like the concept of that building is just south of, is that the Hilton right here on, or is it the Holiday, right there on 32, just south where the Monon Bridge is? The Hampton. Just south of the Hampton, there's a building out there, and that's got about 5 bays, and there's 5 different businesses or 4 different businesses in there.
Yep.
And that is exactly what that's for, where you're not too large because you can't afford the big ones, and you're just have like smaller-ish operations. They don't have semi-trucks coming in there. That is what we're doing. Although the building would look significantly nicer than that one, but it was like that was the intention. And the architecturally standards-wise, the reason why we selected is more or less from the recommendation from staff. I don't think we're necessarily married to this architectural style necessarily. So we're open to having others. If you want it to be more of a, I would argue like more of a commercial style, or if it's more of an industrial style, I think we're open to those possibilities for sure.
Okay, well, square footage limit, important.
Okay.
But you've got 6 weeks between now and the 6-ish weeks between now and the workshop meeting to flesh out a lot of this. No.
Dr. Kane, then Mr. Khan.
Just to kind of carry on from what Bob said, I think, this is for staff, I think Hankey had a development at one time, kind of a retail apartment down between East and 191st Street near the roundabout. That's very close to this for retail with drive-by capabilities. So I'm going to echo what Bob's saying. I think that development out on 32 would be just a perfect thing to mirror at this point in time, and don't worry about all the, I can walk across the street to get my coffee in the morning, but I'm one person, and it's not going to, the coffee shop's not going to be there. The gym's not going to be sustained by the neighbors. That's got to be a drive-by type of location. So I think if this is purely commercial and it's done correctly, it's a big winner in this area.
I'm sorry, were you
Yes.
going to respond to that? I want to make sure I didn't cut you off. Okay.
I mean,
I was just gonna-
I think it was just an option, but there's Coventry subdivision right here, and then I know that the Lindley Run is a little further away, but it's still up here. And then people who are going to work at those jobs at those industrial sites at least have somewhere also to kind of pick up as they go up to work or something like that. I think that was kind of the thinking about it, was the people who live there and also on their way to work. It was the kind of quick grabs. As for the gym, those are typically for people who live around that area and are willing to make the drive because they have to drive to those places anyway.
Mr. Khan.
So a huge thing about Westfield is the development of the economy, and specifically entrepreneurs as they continue to rise from one level to the next. And I think that's what my colleagues were talking about here, and I want to echo that as well, that just like that development that they spoke about, I think that's a great direction. You said that was spot on. I would lead with that. You know, when you come here in 6 weeks, and I would reach out to Claire at the Economic Development Office. I mean, they've got a list of entrepreneurs that would love to be in spaces like this, and this is the type of things we need to keep our economy growing. So that would be my direction that I would love to see, you know, this go in, and would be favorable for me.
Yeah, we're more than happy to take a look at that.
Councilor McCarty.
I'll just say one thing to add to the conversation, because some particular other developments have been pointed out as examples. Could also mention 169th Street, where the Academy volleyball place is, as well as the entirety of the Westfield Park Drive. It's just establishing kind of going on what Omar was just saying, that you get a shell sort building, and then, of course, you file down the uses that you want associated there, but creating this type of space then permits opportunities in the future for whatever it might be that would be adequate for the space. And we already have many examples here in the community that utilizes space like that, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Further comments from commissioners? There's only one guy who hasn't said anything. Okay, nothing. No pressure. No. I wanted to single him out. Yeah, I mean, regarding like the gym stuff, I mean, CrossFit's, again, not a user of CrossFit. I don't even want to be associated. But, you know, that's not the kind of place that you just kind of walk up from your house in your neighborhood and you go work out. You know, it is a little different. People specifically go there for the community, right, and the creation. So I'm not necessarily opposed. I mean, I've seen a comment related to potential opposition to that. I'm not particularly opposed if that showed up here. I think I am opposed to a coffee shop there, but I'm not living there. So anyway, further comments from commissioners before we close this up for tonight? Seeing and hearing none, we will see you at a future workshop. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
No other items under public hearing. We have no items that are continued, which is an amazing feat of having cleared the field. With that, we're going to reports and comments. Are there any comments from plan commissioners to each other? Seeing and hearing none. City Council Liaison, Councilor McCarty.
Well, now that I've gotten into the habit of just sending my updates to y'all via email as well, and it's been a couple weeks, so I don't really remember anything of what happened. I have to look back at my update, but I know I emailed it to
Give him a
y'all.
week
So
off and look
if
what
you have
happens.
any questions, please let me know.
I think in the future, if I might tailor, because I was the one that obviously liked the emails, I know Bob did too. Maybe in your report specifically, what are the things that happened at council that are going to come to us in the future? That could probably be the most helpful to us, you know, because it kind of preps us in our head for what's coming. Would be super helpful in the future. BZA liaison, Dr. Keene.
We meet next week, but I do want to thank Victor for the email update. That makes it a lot easier to digest and to keep up with, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I guess it just never really hit my mind since I had been doing it for my fellow counselors for this update, sending it to them via email, that, oh, well, I posted on my Facebook page, and everyone up here having Facebook, so again, didn't think about that I should have just been doing it same for y'all all along, so.
Yeah, Bob's on Instagram, though, if you'd post it there.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, he's not.
Not even on that.
Plat Committee, Mr. Jorge, speaking of.
Yeah. We haven't met, and we're not going to meet in October. Both meetings are already canceled.
Okay, very good. Community Development Department, words of wisdom to the team.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for approving the calendar for next year. That helps us kind of get things scheduled and posted and let everybody know, so appreciate that. Kind of speaking of some calendar dates, look, so there's a couple of things in the upcoming 30 days here that I just wanted to put out there for everyone's awareness. Next week on October 16th, I think that's a Thursday, we have a public input meeting that we are hosting at the public library from 6 to 8, specifically focusing on village development within the community. So just want to kind of make that announcement and put that out there. You're certainly welcome to attend, provide your input, and this is again open to the public. So encourage people to attend that. And then a couple weeks later, on the 28th, you have hopefully received the emails. There's another joint meeting with the Plan Commission and the City Council, meeting with our comp plan consultants again. I think this might be the last joint session.
It's my understanding from the mayor.
So please, if you can make it there, this is probably an important one to make it to. If you haven't been, or even if you have, be kind of a summary of the draft plan so far, and kind of a last input opportunity from this group and the council together. That's at 7 p.m. at City Services in our normal kind of workshop room. So just want to put those out there. Otherwise, thank you.
I had a cancellation in my email for the next pre-APC call. Was that a foreshadowing potentially of the meeting being canceled?
That is a good question.
Because I know I had mentioned if there was consent agenda items, what the possibility would be to move it to the special meeting so that there weren't essentially trying to beat my 4-minute record of meetings. If you don't have an answer, that's perfectly fine, but I saw that come across my email that it was canceled, so that was odd to me.
I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
I think we'll know by the end of this week.
Okay.
I think, if that's for sure going to happen or not.
Okay,
So,
very good. With no further items and nobody online, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. McCarty. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Mooney. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8 p.m. exactly.
Appreciate your time. I will reach back out this week about how to kind of make this thing official. But no, I think at this point you've gotten all approvals that you need. All that they'll need to do is submit it for a building permit.